grade? Are you ready for your test? Almost. We're going to do a little bit of test prep here, and then you can do your test. I want to remind you about tomorrow. Tomorrow is a creative writing assignment. You get a chance to write a poem. So yeah, be thinking about that. Tomorrow I'll have a video going across what I'm hoping you can do. So tune into that tomorrow. And also about spelling quiz. After this video, I'm going to put on a video that has your spelling words for a quiz. And so because of everything that's happened with you being at home for school, that spelling quiz is not mandatory. By that, you don't have to do it. Like, I'm not taking grades on it. But I really, really recommend if you do it, if you have the time, if it works out, if your mom has the time to help you with that. Because I think it would be just such a good thing if you could keep going with spelling quiz. So, I'll post a spelling quiz video. Hopefully you can join me for that. All right, some test prep. Make sure you look at your checklist to review for the test. I'm not going to go across the whole checklist here, but I've just picked out a few things that I think are important based on what I have seen by grading your work, the little that I've done. First of all, do you know how to properly use let and leave? Most of the time it's pretty easy to figure out. What about this sentence? Let me alone, or leave me alone. Which one would you use? Let or leave? Those are more difficult ones, and it's almost necessary to know the definitions for let and leave. Let means to allow or permit. Leave means to go away from, or something with that idea. To depart or go away from. So which one would you use? Allow or permit me alone, or go away from me? So know the definitions for those. How do you mark the rhythm of a poem? How do you mark the rhythm of a poem? Well, you mark it using accent marks and breathes. So to figure that out, read the poem out loud. And yeah, some clues that I've taught you are to look for two-syllable words and think about where the accent normally would go on two-syllable words. And that'll be where they are in the poem. What about poetic feet? Are you confident in finding poetic feet? Poetic feet is really just marking the rhythm of a poem and then putting division lines anytime the pattern is repeated. So accented, unaccented, accented, unaccented. It's repeated 4 times. So there should be a division line between each of those every time that repeats itself. And then you mark the poetic feet. There are 4 poetic feet there. If you need a little more help on rhythm and poetic feet, go to yesterday's video, preparing for the self-check, and we talked a little more in detail about it there. How should poetry be read? Remember, poetry should be read by thought and not by line. So basically, observe punctuation if there's punctuation. Don't observe it if there is not punctuation. In today's test, you will have to read another stanza or two from a poem and have someone listen to you and keep track of how many lines that you didn't get right. So, kind of like what happened in the quiz, is what's going to happen today. All right, what about sentences that have there and here in them? Do you know how to properly join the subject and the verb when you have sentences with here and there? We call it subject-verb agreement. Here is 2 mushrooms, or here are 2 mushrooms. Well, if you remember that here and there are never subjects, then you should be fine. What that means is you've got to look somewhere else for the subject. Here is not the subject. You've got to make this verb agree with the subject. Mushrooms is the subject. So, mushrooms is plural, you would use are. Okay, and last of all, sentence patterns. We talked about this yesterday too, quite a bit. Sentence patterns. Hopefully you have them all memorized by now. There's 6 of them. And I just want to remind you, one of the most important things, the most important place to start is by looking at the verb. Identify the verb. It's either going to be action, being, or linking. And so much depends on the verb, right? If it's action, it may have complements like ios or dios. If it's being, then it won't have any complements. And if it's linking, then it might have complements like PAs or PNs. Alright, so in this sentence, we're going to start by identifying the verb. Here it is. We'll look for action or being. And it's a being verb at first glance. Now, a being verb can be a linking verb, so we think a little further and we eliminate that possibility. Is it a linking verb? Indianapolis is the capital of Indiana. I believe it is. You see that there is something here that renames Indianapolis. Capital renames Indianapolis. So this is a linking verb. The pattern is S, L, B, P, N. Yeah. Alright, I just wanted to remind you to start by identifying the verb. That's the most important thing. Alright, I think that concludes our test prep. And look forward to seeing how you did. So tune back in for the spelling quiz, and see you then.